Bonjour everybody, welcome back. This is my reaction video of the day 3 matches. It was a couple of close matches. Top seeds like Rublev and Stefanos Tsitsipas were almost done and finished in their matches. They were on their way to the hotel and packed their bags, but they said to themselves, I'm not done yet. I'm not gonna leave this tournament and be crashed out in the first round. I'm here to deliver. I'm here to stay and be focused. I'm gonna put my soul and my fighting spirit on the table. I'm gonna fight like a lion, and both of them eventually turned the tables around in their matches and advanced to the second rounds. Those were the only major players that were close to be defeated yesterday, but they didn't. Both of them showed mental toughness and delivered when it most mattered, because like I said, it was the first time that these two guys came down from 2 sets down in a Grand Slam. It didn't look good for both of them. If you watch the match, Andrei Rublev was very close of turning the tables in the first and second set, because Sam Querrey was up 3-0 and 5-2 in the first set, and 4-0 and 5-1 in the second set. Somehow Rublev managed to come back, but lost those two close tie breaks to Sam Querrey, who, by the way, played superb, solid tennis. Very underrated. I didn't know he was that good on clay, because I've only seen him on fast courts. I've seen him do good results at Wimbledon. I think he was in the semifinal in 2017, where he beat Novak Djokovic on his way, or was it the year previously? I forgot. But anyway, he is not a clay court player, but in this match he served superbly. He won 75% of his first serves in, and did 80 winners in this match. 29 of them were aces. So a big, tall guy, a heavy server like him, was benefited by these conditions that they have now. So it will benefit his huge serve. And the other guy was, of course, Jaume Munar. I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's a guy that I really don't like to watch, because he grounds too much. He's very loud. He's one of, I think, players from Rafael Nadal's academy, and he showed that he's a great clay court player, like mostly of the Spaniards out there. So he did a superb performance against Stefanos Tsitsipas. He was 2 sets up. He played rock solid tennis. He won 73% of his first serves in, but that was mainly because of Tsitsipas returned terrible in that match. But he also did 21 unforced errors in that 5-set battle. That's great, superb numbers, like Nadal. Similar numbers. I think he did 6 unforced errors in the first set, 5 in the second. No, 2 in the second, 5 in the third, or 3 in the a couple of in the 5th set. So he played rock solid. He didn't give away much points. Stefanos really had to earn those points, but Stefanos did 54 winners. So it was great numbers for him. He also won 73% of his first serves in, 42% of his second serves in, and 27 of his return in Munar's first serve, and 57 of his second serve. So he took good care of Munar's second serve. That's where he won the match. He returned a little bit better on the second serve, and he created many winners. He created 54 winners and 49 unforced errors in that match against Munar. So Stefanos fought back. He was like a lion. He roared. He didn't want to crash out early. So it will be interesting in his next match. We're going to play a tricky clay court specialist like Cuevas. Everything can happen there. I'm not trusting Stefanos level to 100%, guys. And Rublev, on the other hand, had a much tougher match. We saw that both of these guys, they played the final in Hamburg just 2 days before their matches here. Both of them had the practice match on the new clay courts, but they had this competition through the week where they played in Hamburg, and that's good because sometimes it's good to practice, of course. You adjust or do things, the final touch, maybe on your serve, on your backhand, and things like that in your game. But it's always good to have a real competition before a great slam or a big tournament. They had it, but maybe they were exhausted. Maybe they didn't. It took time for them to settle in, but they showed it in the beginning. But both Querrey and Munar played rock solid, so they were a difficult opponents for both of these guys. So they did their job, but it was barely, but enough to advance to the second round. And Rublev, he won 77 of his first serves in and 61 of his second serves in. He returned 25% of Querrey's first serve and 39% winish in his second serve. And he did 64 winners in that match, great numbers, and only 20 unforced errors, and also 23 aces from Rublev's racket. So Rublev is a great server. He's a steady, rock-solid baseliner, we all know that. But both Munar and Querrey had solid hard ground strokes because they dueled, they battled, and both of them created winners, mostly Querrey. So I was very surprised that Querrey could hit that many winners. But anyway, both of them did their job, but they had to be better in the next round because Rublev's next opponent is Davidovich Fokina, a guy that he should beat, and Tsitsipas is playing against Cuevas. All right. And then Novak Djokovic. Was this a practice match, walk in the park, or cruise control? I think it was a mix of all of those three. He beat the Swedish guy, Ymer. I think it was Mikael Ymer. A guy that in advance didn't have much chance. We all know that. It was like 95% chances for Novak to win this match. In my opinion, it was 100. Novak was on cruise control. He won 74% of his first serves in, 61 of his second serves in. And he took care of Ymer's weak serve. He won 58% of his first serves in and 46 of his second serves in. Novak only did 32 winners and 22 unforced errors. Good numbers in 3 sets. So this Ymer guy, what can we say? He barely had any power. He could barely battle. He was nervous in the first set. We all know that he got bageled. In the set 2 and 3, he raised his level a little bit, but not too much. It was a very comfortable victory for Novak Djokovic. And then he will take on Berankis in the second round, a guy that he has met a couple of times now. I think he met him at both Rome and US Open, but I'm not 100% sure. I know that he met him in one of those tournaments. But anyway, Novak did his job, nothing fancy-pancy, just a regular day at work victory. And Ymer, I don't know what to say about him. Will we see more in the future like Novak said? I don't think so. He was just polite. Ymer barely have any power or winners. He doesn't have a great serve. He doesn't have a great ground strokes. He's a great mover though. So he will be between 100 and 200 ranked in the future. And that's okay for a professional tennis player if you want to be in that circus. All right. And then Matteo Berrettini, who is on Novak's side, he played against Pospisil, the Canadian. He was serving supreme in this match. He won 73% of his first serves in and 57 of his second serves in. He was ruthless in this match. He didn't give him any chance. This Canadian guy won very comfortable, returned well, won 39 of his of Pospisil's first serve scene and 35 on his second serve scene. It's okay numbers because Pospisil is a great server, but he is not a clay court player. And Berrettini made 45 winners and 47 unforced errors. So he did a little more unforced errors, but he went for the trigger many times. He tried to shorten the points, and he did his job. Or did I mix up the numbers again in my head? No, I'm sorry. He did 22 winners and only 18 unforced errors in that match against Pospisil. Correction there. Correction. All right. Great performance from him. Exactly what I expected. He will advance to the second round. He will meet the South African guy, Harris. And we also saw Garin, the Chilean clay court specialist, play against a tricky opponent, Philip Kohlschreiber, who has been in the tour for at least 15 years. He's a tricky player. He's very great tennis player, but lacks of great weapons. He has a great serve and a great backhand, but terrible returns. And he took a set from Garin, and Garin won 73% of his first serve scene and 57 of his second serve scene. Another correction, Berrettini won 78% of his first serve scene and 74 of his second serves. That's what I was gonna tell you. And 40% of Pospisil's first serves and 47 of his second serves. I mixed those numbers up with Garin's numbers. But anyway, Garin won 39% of Kohlschreiber's first serves and 35% of his second serves in, and did 45 winners and 47 unforced errors. So he will take on a guy named Polmans in the second round. I think he's either from Australia or Austria. I think it's from Australia. A guy that he should beat and advance to the third round without any further problems. And then we have Denis Shapovalov. Interesting debut here this year. He has played before, but this match he has another kind of expectation on him because he's top 10 ranked now. He has played great in both Rome and US Open. And what did he do? He didn't play like he did in those two tournaments. He only won 60% of his first serves in and 49% of his second serves in. He should have, with this huge serve like that, with the surface like clay court, he should use that. And he's a lefty, of course. He should have used that to more advantage. He made a couple of double faults in that match. He did way too many unforced errors in that match. A better player will have punished him for sure. He did 65 unforced errors, but on the other hand, he did 55 winners also. So another great thing about that match, he approached the net many times, Denis Shapovalov. He won 71% of his net approaches. That's good, but he didn't return good in that match. It's one of his Achilles heel. He only converted 13 out of 24 breakpoint opportunities, and that's not good. A better player than Simon would surely, and Simon took a set from him. A better player would have punished this guy, or at least he would have taken him to 5 sets. But Shapovalov, his first round is always tricky. He did his job. He didn't melt down. He didn't choke. He did his job and should be glad. And in the second round, we will meet a guy that impressed me very much, even though he met a clown like Steve Johnson in his first round. Corbeas Baena gave him 2 breadsticks and a bagel, and won 90% of his second serves, 76 of his first serves in, and only did 9 unforced errors in that match. That either shows that this Corbeas Baena is a superb clay court player, or shows that this Steve Johnson is a clown that couldn't take more than 2 games against a solid, an okay all-round player. But I will give credit to Corbeas Baena, and I will be very ruthless against Steve Johnson. It was just disappointing. It was a real embarrassment. All right. And he will take on Shapovalov in the next match. Shapovalov, if Corbeas plays like this match can be very difficult for him. But in the end, Steve Johnson doesn't have the weapons like Shapovalov have, so it will be a total different matchup here. And I think that Shapovalov advanced from that match. And then you have RBA, who played against Richard Gasquet. This guy, why is he still on the tour? Is he collecting meal tickets or money? He has not done a great thing in a couple of years now. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me. So RBA took the first set to a tie break because Gasquet played okay. RBA did some mistakes. Gasquet was even up with set points. He was 40-15 up in his own serve, but failed. He choked. And after that, RBA ate him. He won 6-2, 6-1 in the second and the third set. He won 67% of his first serves in and 56% of his second serves in. And RBA hit 32 winners and made 19 unforced errors in that match. So Gasquet, terrible performance. Another French failure. We saw mostly of the, I think they were 15 or 14 French players that entered the first round. Many of them were lucky losers or wild cards. And of course, some of them deserved their place there because of the ranking. But the big names crashed out. Now we have guys like Paire, Benoit Paire, and a couple of guys that I can't pronounce that advanced to the second round. I think 4 or 5 French dudes out of 14 or 15 guys advanced to the second round. So French tennis, they have many players, but they don't have consistent players. They should have a better academy like France that produce, like Spain that produce great players on regular basis. The same with Serbia, the same with Austria, the same with Germany. They're taking steps forward all the time. And a tennis country like Sweden used to be, should have more talent, like besides Ymer. But that's another topic, and there are reasons why they are not a factor in the tennis world. But that's another story. So all in all, day 3 analysis. The big names went through to the second round. No major upsets. Dimitrov and Anderson, good to see them back in the winning streak. Both of them advanced. Dimitrov beat Barrere, a French dude, and in 3 straight sets. And Kevin Anderson beat Jere, the Serbian guy, I think, in 3 straight sets. They will advance to the second round. And that was all for today. Take care and bye-bye.